Hello and welcome to Hot Tea with Holly. How are you? Welcome to the latest edition. I'm super excited. Hello and welcome to Hot Tea with Holly. So today is the first day in a long time that I am broadcasting live both on Facebook and on Instagram. Instagram friend, how are you? I know I've been gone for a while, but we are back with a new format. This is Hot Tea with Holly, where I share a hot cup of tea with you and we chat about relevant topics. I've got a doozy for you today. I have an awesome topic today that was inspired by one of the women that's inside of my program, The Masters. You know who you are. And today's topic is the muscle tipping point. What is it? Why it matters, and how to get it. It's taken me a really long time to be able to actually verbalize this concept. And this is a concept that maybe it's floating around out there in the world, and I have not seen the research on it. But in essence, what the muscle tipping point is, it's the point in your strength training journey where the muscle in your body that you've been working on starts to have more influence on a variety of aspects of your health, your metabolism, how you feel, how you look. And in my experience, yes, 30 years, which I cannot believe. How is that possible? In my years of experience, I have seen this trend happen where women come into my community. I get them started on the right type of strength training protocol. They stick with it, they can stay consistent, but it takes a certain amount of time for all of that foundation of muscle to really mean something, to really bring all of the benefits that you get from strength training. And that is what we are going to be talking about today on Hot Tea with Holly. Welcome. I am Holly. If you have not been here before, I hope you'll say hello. If you're watching this in playback, leave a comment or a DM below. I am live on Facebook and Instagram. This will then also be published to YouTube as well as my blog. And every week I am here at this time, Tuesdays at 1 o'clock on the East Coast, to have a cup of hot tea and to talk about one of my favorite topics. It usually involves strength training. It often includes nutrition. And ultimately, I am all about helping you use strength training and intentional nutrition to create the body that you need to keep up with the life that you love. And that is what we're going to be talking about today. If you're with me live, please say hello. So I'm having PG tips today. Surprise, surprise. Those of you guys that have been here with me for the past couple of weeks know that I've been on a PG tips bender. The sad news is that this is just PG tips. This is not PG tips gold, which is really ultimately my favorite. I ran out of PG tips gold, which is so sad, but the Amazon machine will be delivering it to me this week. So today I'm having PG tips. If you guys don't know PG tips, it's sort of like the everyday drinking tea in the UK. It would be akin to our Lipton, but it's like way better. Of course, it's way better. And it's a very strong black tea. It's super caffeinated. I love the flavor. I love the caffeine that I get from it. So what I do is I brew mine for about 5 minutes, which is kind of long by tea drinking standards, but that's okay. And then in my PG tips, I like to add a half a teaspoon of maple syrup, just because I do like a little sweet in my tea. If I'm eating something sweet, I will drink my black tea by itself. But generally, I've got a half a teaspoon of maple syrup in it. So please say hello. If you're here for the first time, say hello. If you're with me on Instagram, hello, my friend. I know. Tea Time with Holly is now Hot Tea with Holly. And I am going to be always consistently posting and going live every Tuesday over on my Holly Perkins fitness page on Facebook. Then on the days when I have someone joining me for this feed and it's an interview style, I will not be going live on Instagram because like last week when I interviewed Laura from my community, you got to kind of see both of the feeds. So Instagram, I probably will be here almost every week. But if you want to join me on Tuesdays at 1 o'clock on the East Coast, please come on over to that dinosaur Facebook and find me as Holly Perkins Fitness. Hello, everyone. Let's jump in. Today, we are talking about the muscle tipping point. What is it, why it matters, and how you can get it. So, I think most people are familiar with the concept of a tipping point. A tipping point is that point in a journey where all of your efforts finally start to really either accumulate, accelerate, or show all of the efforts that you have put in up until then. It's the point where you're able to put in less effort, but you're still able to get either the same results you were getting before or better results. And this can apply to a million things. So recently I discovered, not really recently, but it's a concept I've been brewing on for a long time as I've witnessed women in my community stay with me for a long period of time and getting to watch their journey to go from where strength training is really a new concept and a new practice to the point where they really become a master. So this year I launched a very special program called the Masters. It's invite only. It's not open. I'm actually in the Masters right now. I'm not here to talk about the Masters, but I launched this new small group coaching program, like I said, that is only by invite. It's very specifically only for women who have worked with me before, either one-on-one or inside of one of my programs. And so inside of the Masters, I have the opportunity to get to work with a bunch of women who I've worked with before. And now I'm working with them for the second or third or fourth time, or sometimes even the second, third, or fourth year. And that is when this concept became so crystal clear for me. So I'm going to be talking you through what the muscle tipping point is. What is it? Why you want it and how to get it. It's an awesome topic. So welcome. If you are drinking a cup of tea, let me hear about it. Or if you've got some coffee, you know I want to know all about your coffee drinking habits. Do dish. And even if you're not having a beverage with us, please say hello, whether you are here on Instagram or on Facebook. Jessica is here. Hello. Christy, I am having Harney and Sons Hot Cinnamon Sunset. Okay, question. Heidi, Christy, those of you guys, maybe Lois, if you're here, those of you guys that know Harney and Sons, I have a question. I just discovered that Walmart carries Harney and Sons Hot Cinnamon Sunset in a tin. Is it the same as the hot cinnamon spice that you get in the bag from Harney and Sons? I looked at the ingredients and it looks like it's the same exact tea. I always order my hot cinnamon spice directly from Harney and Sons. And I actually really like their tea bags. I don't get it loose. But it looks like you can actually get it at Walmart. And Amy has chimed in and said it's exactly the same. I did not know that. Heidi, I've got you over on Instagram today. I love it. So who knew that it's the same exact stuff with a different label? Amy, thank you for letting us know, because now when I run out, I can get it at Walmart. Christy says, I got my Harney and Sons in the tin at Target. Yes, it's the same. I love it. Good to know. So that's not what I'm drinking today. Today is PG Tips. And it's nice and strong and the perfect temperature. And we got a little bit of sweetness. Rona, hello. Anita, I will be getting back to your email. I'm so glad that you are here, my friend. Jennifer, go forth. Hello, how are you? Amy is here. Okay, good. And hello, everybody over on Instagram. Here we go. We are talking about the muscle tipping point. Get your notebooks out because this is a good one. That is my talking hand puppet that comes out to emphasize the things that I really want you to write down in your notebook. Okay, what is the muscle tipping point? I got my notes over here. It is the point in your strength training and fitness journey when muscle becomes a higher percentage of your total body weight. It's the point when you have laid the foundation of neuromuscular facilitation within your muscles. That happens in the first, let's call it 6 to 12 weeks of strength training. You've laid the foundation of the neuromuscular aspects of strength training, and that can take a period of time. That's a foundation. And then you've stayed with your strength training journey long enough that you've started to build muscle, and or the muscle that you have is starting to be more metabolically active. It's more vibrant and more impactful in terms of your body overall. In short, it's kind of a jumbled way of saying that your muscles are getting bigger to some degree. They are weighing more whether you do or not. And I know that can be scary for some women, but let me tell you, it's not. Heidi, you can chime in about this. Jennifer, if you're here today, you can chime in. Marian, I'm so glad to see you. I owe you an email too. You guys, it's been nuts over here. I am transitioning 6 years of the business over to a whole new platform. All of my blogs, all of my programs are going to be in a new platform, and it is an undertaking. Not to mention having a group coaching program running right now. So for those of you guys that I owe emails to, that is why. And I hope you'll stay patient. Hello, Elizabeth. Are you drinking PG Tips? You probably missed my announcement that I don't have gold today. I have the plain old PG Tips, which is not nearly as good as gold. Elizabeth tried Taylor's sweet rhubarb. Who knew there was a sweet rhubarb tea? That sounds absolutely amazing. And Misfit Girl on Instagram just had a pumpkin spice coffee. Very apropos to my fall colored t-shirt that I have on today. Let me continue. The muscle tipping point is the point in your journey where your muscle starts becoming a higher percentage of your body weight. Another way of saying it is your body fat goes down and your muscle mass goes up. Now, your body weight on the scale might not change, and that's why I've decided to word it the way that I do. It's the point in your journey where your muscle is now a higher percentage than it was of your total body mass or weight. Your lean muscle mass is coming up. The muscle tipping point is when the muscle is really starting to influence your metabolism, your caloric need, your energy needs, and your hormonal profile. The muscle tipping point is when your muscle, the collective muscles of your body, not one muscle, right? But the collective muscles in your body, all your muscles, are now really substantially impacting your metabolism and your body. The muscle tipping point is also when you start to get all of the benefits of strength training. You're looking different. Your muscle is creating a different visual aesthetic. You are stronger. You perform better. You're smaller, you're tighter, leaner. People at the grocery store say, wow, you must work out. That is the muscle tipping point. It is this very interesting place that I've watched many of my clients go, where they go from kind of being newer in their journey to strength training to their body really starting to look professional, to look serious about their strength training, and where their body really starts to change to the point that it has an impact on your nutrition. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. If you're here with me on Instagram or watching on playback, please say hello. I've got Facebook and Instagram going live. And a hot cup of PG Tips at the perfect temperature. Okay. The muscle tipping point. Why it matters. Because you might be like, who cares? I strength train every day. I run, I do my Pilates, I do my Zumba, I do my yoga, I do all these things. I strength train. Why is the muscle tipping point relevant? Why does it matter? Number one, it's when your strength training really starts to impact your visual aesthetic in a way that you really start to look better in a more permanent, more lasting way. Oh yes, I experienced this for the first time about 8 years ago after I took several years and really committed to my strength training. I made it number one in my fitness life. And what happens is your body really starts to look different and you get to keep the gains. Have you ever had the experience where you have a good run in your nutrition and your fitness? and your bod starts to look great and you're loving the way you look and you're fitting into all of your clothes beautifully. And then something causes you to have to take a left turn in life, or there is a road bump, as there inevitably will be. And you get away from those healthy habits. And before you know it, your body is back to kind of what it used to look like. The muscle tipping point is the point where that doesn't happen anymore. You get to keep your muscle in a more prolonged way. Now, if you just stop strength training, you're going to lose your muscle at some point in general. But what I'm talking about here is really you go from being consistent in your nutrition, your strength training, and your fitness efforts, your training on a regular basis, to where when you take time off or if you have a setback, it doesn't impact you as much as it used to. You're able to keep your leanness, you're able to keep the tightness and the tone of your body because your fitness doesn't disappear as quickly. And it's a big deal. It's a real thing. And I don't know if other people in the fitness industry are talking about it this way. This is certainly how I look at it. This is my perspective from coaching women for 30 years. And this is my way of describing this concept in a way that you can really see why it matters. The number 2 reason why the muscle tipping point is important is because that is when you really start to feel better from your strength training workouts and all of your other activities in life start to feel better because of the muscle that you have built. To me, that is the most incredible aspect to strength training, is that when it's done right, it impacts every minute of every day of every activity. If you want to be a better runner, strength train. If you want to be better at yoga, strength train. If you want to be better on the bike or hiking or paddleboarding, I don't care what the thing is. Strength training is the thing that makes everything feel better. Your whole life feels better in a intrinsic, self-perspective, proprioceptive way. You feel better in your body and you feel better at your activities. You are better at your sports. Your energy is better. Your mood is better. It's when there's a real shift and you're able to see the impact of your strength training on your life. The third reason why the muscle tipping point matters is because you will get better results from everything that you do. It's this point in your journey where all of a sudden you're able to put in less effort and you get a lot back. I've experienced this in the past couple of years. So for those of you guys who have been on this journey with me the past 3 years, you'll know my story. And for those of you that are new here, who maybe haven't been following my story for the past couple of years, I really went from peak physical ability and fitness to a very different place when I faced a very substantial health challenge. And that health challenge meant that there were months on end that the only exercise I got was leisurely, gentle walking. I was not able to sustain concerted workouts for a number of years recently, just in the past 2 to 3 years. And in the past year, as my health has gotten better, I have been able to gradually build up my tolerance for my workouts, the intensity of my workouts, the frequency and the overall intensity and volume of my workouts. And so what I saw as soon as I got started back after that 2-year setback, let's call it, is that one workout the next morning, my abs would show. 2 workouts the next day, my arms would start to show new definition. 2 weeks of workouts, my booty would be a little bit bigger and a lot fluffier. And so what's happening is, because of all the work that I put in years ago and over, let's call it the past 12 years, really, It's a muscle memory sort of concept where you end up getting better results from everything that you do by putting in less effort. So instead of having to work so hard, so consistently, week after week after week and year after year, you start to get on the other side of it where you can do less and get better results, get more results from less effort put in. It happened for me. It's happened for a lot of my clients. Again, I don't know if Jennifer's here. Heidi, I think this applies for you as well, for sure, if you're still with me over here on Instagram. It really is substantial when you get to experience it. So we're talking about the muscle tipping point, what it is, why it matters, and how you can get it. And this is a big one. I'm going to talk you through exactly what that means. Now, everyone in my community, many of the women in my community are at different places in their fitness journey. They're in a different place. Some of you are newer to strength training. I have several women that are very advanced and getting even more advanced in their fitness journey. So when we look at this concept of the muscle tipping point, you won't really know you're there until you've been in it for a period of time. But how do you get it? Number one, wherever you are on your fitness and strength training journey, specifically your strength training journey, because I feel like it's not just a fitness conversation. Really, what we're talking about is so focused on real, committed strength training as a way of life, as a practice. Now, this doesn't mean you're going to be big and bulky and make big, huge muscles. I've been working my booty off in the gym and I still don't even look muscular yet. Hopefully I will. I don't know that I ever will. But the muscle tipping point happens when, wherever you are in your strength training journey, you number one first have to ensure that all of your strength training workouts are at a suitable intensity. So it's really about the intensity of your strength workouts. And that's not just hard and heavy. It's really the overall intensity in each set that you're able to achieve because you have been at this game for a period of time. The life cycle from newbie to master starts where you are within your first 6 months of committed and dedicated strength training. And this means you're strength training every week, religiously, 2 to 3 times per week. And you've been doing that for a solid 6 months. It's a real concerted focus. You're not just like doing 3 sets of bicep curls after your spin class. That's not strength training from my perspective. I'm glad you're picking up some weights. Anything is better than nothing. But really what I'm talking about when I'm talking about strength training is real dedicated training, focused workouts where you are ensuring the intensity of every single set, of every single exercise that you do. So when you start as a newbie, you're going to go through about 6 months of strength training where you're consistent, where you have to really focus on, number one, your technique, but then number two, gradually making sure your technique is good and increasing the resistance levels of the exercises that you're doing. You're increasing the workload. But your number one focus is technique so that your whole body, all of your joints, collectively get to a point where your technique is awesome on every single exercise all the time. And you don't have to worry so much about your technique because it's dialed in. And that happens in the first, I would say, 6 to 9 months, where your intensity of your strength training workouts might actually not be that intense. It might not be in the actual sets as intense as we want them. and where the intensity gets once you get higher up on that arc of your strength training and fitness journey. So you've got about 6 to 9 months as this foundational period as you are slowly and steadily moving towards the tipping point. And the tipping point is going to occur once you've gotten to the place where you're really able to work at a very high intensity in every single set of all of your exercises. And what that means is you're really using weight loads or workloads where a set is a workout, and you are positive that your technique is excellent. The only way to really get like that beautiful intensity is to first have appropriate technique so that every single rep of every single set is perfect. So that when you get to the end of your set, wherever your rep range is, it's intense. And when you are done with that set, you need to recover because you just had a workout in a set. So how you get to this muscle tipping point is first you have to really workshop your technique. That's the hardest part of the game because you have to know what good technique is, and then you have to know how to mimic it in your body, and then you have to know how to remedy it if you don't have it. And that's one reason why I created Strength Society, which is my 3-hour live, 3+ hour live workshop that I launched earlier this year. I think the first one we did was at the end of July, and I've done 2 of the Strength Society workshops. There's going to be one in December for sure, but it's exactly why I did Strength Society, so that I could teach you perfect technique. I could watch you do it, help you refine your technique, and then you have a resource to practice it over and over and over so that you make sure your technique is exactly where it needs to be. Because once your technique is awesome, you can then start to increase the weight loads to the point where, after your deadlift, you need to sit down and thank the Lord you're still alive. And you need a minute. You cannot even look at your phone because you need to recover for 60 to 90 seconds. That's the intensity that really starts to move you over the hump of the tipping point and into the territory where you're going to start getting more from your workouts by putting less in overall. And so you have to start that first 6 to 9 months working on your technique, gradually increasing your intensity until you get to the place at the peak of that arc where you're really putting in some serious intensity for another 4 to 6 months. Okay. And then at that point, in my estimation, it's around 9 to 12 months-ish where most women in my experience really hit that tipping point. Now, of course, this varies based on your age. It varies based on your history of strength training. And most importantly, it varies based on your body's ability to recover and withstand intensities. So if you have, let's say, like me, a more delicate immune system, an autoimmune disorder, if you have to be very careful about how you train your body, it might take a little bit longer. It actually took me longer. I would say that it took me a solid 2 years or more, maybe even 3 years to really get open, maybe longer, honestly, to get over that tipping point because it's a process. It's a process, and you have to be able to get to the point where you can really have those tough sets for every single exercise so that your body is truly adapting. So if you've just popped in, we are talking about the muscle tipping point, what it is, why it matters, and how you get there. And right now I'm specifically going over how you get there. The first part of that is ensuring you've got excellent technique on your exercises so that you can then really make sure every single set is at a certain intensity level where each set is a workout in and of itself. So how you get there to the muscle tipping point is you really ensure excellent technique and intensity. The second way is that you stick with one progressive resistance training program for at least 3 to 4 months. And then if you're going to change your training program to a different program, you have to stick with that training program for 3 to 4 months. You have to stay consistent with your movement patterns because your body has to adapt and really learn how to perform these exercises and do these exercises well. And that requires repetition. That requires your body adapting to really learning a Romanian deadlift or a walking lunge or a Bulgarian split squat or a barbell back squat or a dumbbell squat or a goblet squat, whatever it is. You've got to do it over and over and over for your body to really get skilled and practiced at the movement pattern. And so it's important that you're on a program and you're sticking with that one program at least 3 to 4 months. All of my coaching programs are 3 to 4 months at a minimum. And sometimes I even do 6-month training programs, depending on a person's long-term goals and also where they are starting in their journey. But you have to stay with one program for 3 to 4 months. Then if you're going to change the program, change it to another program that you stay with for 3 to 4 months. It's really, really super, super important because that is what progressive resistance is. It's ensuring that you're actually getting stronger on your goblet squat. How would you know if you're getting stronger if you don't repeat the same exercises? So 2 weeks ago, you were able to do 15 pounds on your goblet squat. How will you know you're actually getting better or stronger unless you keep doing your goblet squat and now you're up to 25 pounds or 35 pounds? That's how you know, but you have to keep doing the same movement pattern. That is why you will notice if you see a strength training program from someone like myself or another veteran of the fitness industry or another bona fide expert in our field, their strength training programs are a bit monotonous. It's the same exercises. Maybe you change the sequence. Maybe you change your rep scheme or your rest phase, but the truth is it's really the same thing over and over and over and over for a period of time until you are fully mastered at those exercises. And you can say, wow, I used to be able to deadlift with 10-pound dumbbells, and now I'm deadlifting my body weight. That is when your body really starts to change. But you have to stick with that movement pattern for a long time to really be able to see it change. And the third aspect of how to get there for this muscle tipping point is to really give it, like I said, 9 to 12 months. And you might hear that and say, oh my gosh, that seems so far out for me to get these benefits of strength training. But that's actually not what I'm talking about, because you will be progressing all through those, let's call it 12 months. And so at each week or each month of those 12 months, you're going to be getting better and better and better and better and better. But in my experience of working with women through the whole arc and life cycle of strength training, that tipping point usually happens around 12 months, a full year, sometimes more. If you're really on it and you're really committed and you're really consistent, it can happen at 12 months. Jennifer, I don't know if you're here, but I think you are a wonderful example of this in terms of how at about, I think it was 12 to 18 months for you, you really started seeing big changes in your body and your strength training because you stayed so consistent for a year. And I know that can sound like, oh my gosh, this is such a long journey to get there. But I encourage you instead to really look at it as every single week, you're getting better. And isn't that exciting? Regardless of where you are in your journey, isn't it wonderful that you're getting better every single week? And if you just keep focusing on getting better every single week, you'll eventually get to the point where you're there And the muscle tipping point is when all of your effort over that previous year really accumulates, it accelerates, and it really starts contributing to your life in a big way. So welcome to Hot Tea with Holly. If you have questions, go ahead and pop them in now. I am having a now not so hot cup of PG Tips. It's still on the edge there of drinkable. I like my tea very, very hot, but I'm here every Tuesday at 1:00 on the East Coast, and I talk about relevant concepts around strength training, intentional nutrition, and mindset. And today we're talking about the muscle tipping point. So if you're just popping in on this live feed, I so encourage you to make sure you go back and watch this recording. They will both live on my Holly Perkins fitness page on Facebook, and as well as my Instagram IGTV feed over on Instagram. And this will be published to YouTube as well as my blog. So I hope you will come over and visit me at hollyperkins.com. In a short period of time, we're going to have a whole new look, a whole new face, and a whole new home to my website. It's going to be very exciting. But if you're watching this live and you can't stay with me the whole time, this will be over on my blog, on my website. And you can always go over there and go through the incredible encyclopedia of past episodes, because that is where I keep all of these episodes and all of my best information. So I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, please do share or just say hello. Who's here? You guys, I just made a decision and I don't think you're going to be very happy about it. I don't know that I'm going to continue doing this live on Instagram. I don't like having to talk to two different cameras. It's too distracting for each of you. And if I could get my camera angle to line up, that would be different. But I just think it's so important that when we're having a conversation, I'm looking you in the eye, and I'm not really loving having to look back and forth between the cameras right now. So I know that I said Hot Tea with Holly would be here every week, but it might not, you guys. Stay tuned on that. So sorry. And really, fitness, oh my goodness, Facebook is my main hub right now for this series for a number of reasons. But if you're on Instagram, I know many of you don't spend as much time on Facebook anymore, but that's the best place to really get all of my information and free resources. So on Instagram, Heidi said, I'm totally noticing what you're saying. It's quite astonishing. Thank you for that. Because astonishing is exactly what it is. Once you get through the muscle tipping point, what happens is all of your efforts multiply. They accelerate. Every small tweak to your nutrition shows up in your performance or your physique. Every extra effort you put into your strength training workout shows up the next day or a couple days later. And it really gets to the point where any extra little bit of effort that you put in comes back tenfold. And that doesn't happen in the earlier months of your strength training journey. Now, I know, because I've heard this from various communications from women over the years, women will say to me, but I've been strength training for years. And so shouldn't I be over that muscle tipping point? No, because if you watch this episode, when I talk about what is it and why it matters and how to get there, one of the key things is that you have to be consistently showing up for your dedicated, serious strength training workouts every week for 2 to 3 weeks for a period of time. And so a lot of women think that just because they spend some time strength training, that counts, but it doesn't. It has to be the consistent 2 to 3 times every single week for 6 to 9 months. And inside of those strength workouts, you are really putting forth the interest, the dedication, the fine-tuning, the tweaking, and the troubleshooting into every single workout. In short, it becomes a hobby. It becomes a lifestyle. It becomes something that you're inside of your strength training workouts, and you are legitimately really trying to make sure your technique is excellent. You are really in it. It's a passion. And so that has to be in place for a very long time, consistently. How many times have I said this word consistent? You'll get the point. I'm hoping to drive it home so that you get so sick of me saying the word consistent or consistently, because it really does matter. That has to be there for you to really reach this tipping point. So if you feel this is you, but you don't feel that you've gotten on the other side of the muscle tipping point, I really encourage you to look over the past year. For the entire past year, every month of the last 12 months, have you been very committedly going after your strength training workouts? And if there were a couple months in there that you weren't, that's going to slow down this process a bit more. But if you are really taking it serious and your strength training is the number one focus every single week, it's the most important workout that you show up for, you are prioritizing it, you are ensuring that you are fueled for performance for your strength training workout, and you're really going after it. That is when it's just a function of time. I so encourage using some form of measurement, whether it is circumference measurements or a body composition screening, or even maybe progress photos. It's really important to be tracking that along the way too, because one of those assessments will help you to know, am I getting leaner? Am I getting more musculature? Because you have to see, is that all of that effort in your strength training workouts showing up so that your lean muscle mass ends up contributing so much more to your overall body physiology, and that your muscle actually becomes a higher percentage of your body weight. And you're only going to know that through some kind of a screen or scan. I'm a huge fan of a DEXA scan or a bod pod. They are so much more accessible these days if you really commit to finding them. A DEXA scan is really the gold standard, and I require it for every single woman inside of my coaching program, the Masters, because you have to really have accurate testing to know, are you increasing your lean muscle mass? Are you improving your bone density or not? We have to know, and we have to really have a benchmark and an objective way of assessing that. It doesn't have to be a DEXA or a bod pod. It could be circumference measurements. It could be progress photos. Maybe it could be your body weight on the scale. Maybe not. I don't know, because I do think the scale lies. But that is ultimately how you are going to reach and get through the muscle tipping point. Questions and comments? Marion, so glad you are here. Okay, so Marion asks, how can you calculate the calories your body spends in a day if you don't work out? And that is such a good question, my friend. Such a good question. So the truth is, you kind of can't calculate it. Now, if you get onto the Google machine, there are lots of resources out there that will give you a variety of equations where you can actually calculate approximately what your body needs in a day. It's called your basal metabolic rate. Actually, it's not really even your basal metabolic rate. It would be your TDEE, which is your total daily energy expenditure. Marion, is what you're asking about. So basal metabolic rate or resting metabolic rate is the amount of energy your body needs to just live. So in essence, it's how much energy your body needs to get you through the sleeping hours, right? You're not doing much. There's not much energy expenditure when you're sleeping. It's the basic amount of calories you need to stay alive. Then your TDEE, your total daily energy expenditure, is the total amount of energy, calories, that your body needs to maintain everything you do in a day, whether it's going up and down the stairs to do laundry and then running to the grocery store and then brushing your dog for 90 minutes, whatever it is, it's all of the calories you burn in a day, even if you're not working out. So we refer to that, Marion, write this down as TDEE, Tango, Delta, Echo, Echo, right? E is Echo. Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Echo. Yes. I learned my military alphabet this year. Very proud of myself. TDEE, total daily energy expenditure. Miriam, if you look around on the internet, there's probably a variety of resources that will help you to calculate that. That being said, this is another reason why I absolutely love a DEXA or a BOD-POD screening, because it will tell you accurately based on how much muscle you have and how much tissue you have against your body weight. It's going to tell you in a much more accurate way how many calories you need in a day to just maintain without workouts. TDEE. And we are always estimating it unless you do a DEXA scan. A DEXA scan is really the only way that you are able to get a very accurate number. And even then, it might not be 100% accurate in all truth. Okay. Oh, hello, Teal. You are here. Nugget, and you are still around. I love it. How are you, Nugget? So good to hear from you. I feel like it's been a long time. Jessica, would you say it's, ooh, Jessica for the win? Jennifer, I don't know if you're here. I don't think she is. No. Jessica for the win over on Facebook. Jessica says, would you say the muscle tipping point is 3 rounds of the glutes project ultimate to get to the tipping point? Absolutely, exactly. And that is exactly what Jennifer Bean, Coach Jennifer, the glutes project ambassador, did in her 9 to 12 months for her to reach the tipping point. Now for her, it's actually been I would say it's 16 months for her to reach her tipping point. I think she went through the glutes project 3 to 4 times. And then in there, she intermixed some of my other programs. She did the next level. She's now inside of the masters. And then I think we did some version of a customized program for her, but she did 2 to 3 rounds of the glutes project consistently back to back to back, repeating it from the beginning over and over, at least 3 to 4 times. At least 3 times, maybe 4, maybe not. And she said that was really, Jennifer would tell you that was the thing that really got her to this point of where she is in her strength training journey in general. Now, Jennifer was here for one of my episodes where I brought guests on the show with me, and Heidi and Jennifer joined me for an episode, which is now over on my blog. And I think that episode was back in August. It's worth taking a look at because Heidi and Jennifer, who both are great examples of this life cycle and of the muscle tipping point, they share their stories and they tell you a bit about where they started, what it looked like to go through the journey, and where they are now. So if you want to hear more about this from people who have done it other than me, go to my blog and check it out, and look for the blog post that was around the end of August. I think it was August 31st that we did that. So yes, that's exactly what I would say is the glutes project. Of course, I'm going to plug one of my programs because I know that it works. That's a great way to do it. You do it consistently. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to do you could do the glutes project 2 times in a row, then do a different program and then come back to the glutes project a 3rd time or a 4th time. But it really is that sweet spot of 3 to 4 is where I see people really start shifting in terms of increasing the percentage of their body that is lean muscle mass. Another way of saying that is to improve your lean muscle mass percentage of your body weight in general. Teal shares, the commitment to consistency has been a challenge with spine damage and depression. Of course, and I think for everyone, life is the biggest challenge to consistency. And this is exactly why I said earlier in this feed that prior to 2020, I had gone through 2 years at least where my consistency was not there because it could not be there, because of a health challenge and because of my physical limitations at the time. 0 consistency for me in those 2 to 3 years. And so certainly many of us might have to go through a time in life where you're not able to be consistent, and that's okay. That's not going to be the season to really work on this. That season might be next year for you, when your other general health aspects are better. And so for me, what it looked like, I was at peak physical ability. I had a very substantial health challenge. And then it was top to bottom 3 years where I really was not able to focus on this. And then last year, as I started to feel better, there was this gradual incline in terms of my physical abilities. And just now I'm getting back to being close to the tipping point. And I think that I am on the other side of the tipping point in general. But if I'm away from my strength training for too long, I do start to sort of tinker back towards that tipping point before I get back into the territory. And it can take a month or two, maybe even 3 months, again, of those consistent workouts to be back into it fully. And that is where I am right now. Questions and comments. Need to do more strength workouts. I did my leg workouts and it helped 100%. You know, keep in mind, your legs are 60% of your body. Your legs are more than half of your body. A lot of people think, well, it's half your body. It's actually more than half of your body because your lower body technically starts above your glutes, which really would be all the way up towards your belly button. And that's more than half of your body. More than half of the muscles in your body are in your lower body. And that is why lower body strength training is so critical, because there's more muscles there and there are more muscles there to contribute to all of these benefits that you get from your strength training. Misfit Girl, any idea why leg days give me restless leg syndrome at night? This only happens when I'm doing a progressive resistance strength program. I don't know exactly, honestly. I can speak from experience that being someone who struggles with recovery on a muscular level because of my unique genetic coding, my physiology, my body really tends to be kind of delicate, that I would say it has something to do with the stress that you have put onto your musculature and the recovery process that's happening at night when your muscles go into recovery. So I don't know, Misfit Girl. I'm certainly not knowledgeable on that enough to have a definite answer. What I would say is really facilitate all of your ways of recovery. And you might want to consider talking to your doctor about mineral supplementation or improving your electrolyte supplementation. There could be something around the electrolyte or elemental minerals conversation that is introducing sort of this pattern of muscular activity, which is what restless leg syndrome is, at night. So I would do some research, but if it were me, and I feel like I don't get restless leg syndrome per se, but definitely after a big strength training day, my legs ache at night more. And so for me, I know that it really comes down to my nutrition and really facilitating all of my recovery efforts, like Epsom salt baths. I do take minerals and electrolytes. You could do foam rolling, but I actually do a hypervolt. I do, what people would use for foam rolling. I do a hypervolt, which is muscle vibration therapy in essence. And I do a lot to really facilitate my my recovery. And I think that makes a big difference in terms of how my muscles feel at night when I'm recovering. If I eat really well and I do all of the appropriate supplementation, I don't get it at all. Yeah. And as always, consistency, consistency, consistency. It's everything. Any final questions before I set you free? Thank you so much for being here. And I think I just made a decision, you guys. I don't think I'm going to be doing Hot Tea with Holly live here on Instagram going forward. Maybe I will come to you guys with a different live segment during the week because I do want to be more present on Instagram going forward. But it's just too much to be juggling all of this all by myself. And I really want to be able to put out high quality content on my blog. And that means I got to be looking to that camera over there and not paying any attention to you on Instagram. So sorry, guys. Sorry. I hope you come over to Facebook and visit me, though, Holly Perkins Fitness. Okay, guys, I will be here next Tuesday for sure, right here on Facebook, 1 o'clock on the East Coast, Holly Perkins Fitness page on Facebook. I would love to see you there. And I always share my best information, tips, tools, and resources. Each week, I send out short emails with great communication and a lot of great free resources. If you want to get any of my free resources, like my 6-week strength and cardio program or my 14-page Macros 101 guidebook, you're going to want to sign up for those. You can go to hollyperkins.com/macros or hollyperkins.com/offer, and you will be able to download those free resources and get loving messages from me every week. Until next time, I'll see you then. Bye, guys.